Hi, and welcome to the Owatonna Today Show. I'm Shelley Whitehead. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to all you mothers. Hope you enjoyed your Mother's Day. It's a great opportunity to get out and thank them for all the work they've done. We want to thank you for watching us right here on Charter Channel 8, where you can see us 6 days a week. You can also find us on the internet. We are on blip.tv as well as YouTube and on Facebook. The great thing is when you do like us on Facebook, Leanne does upload the most recent episode right to your newsfeed. So it's an easy way for you to keep up with what's going on in your community. We love that you do that. We are excited about today's show because we're going to be talking with Amy Swain a little bit about hearing aids and kind of how they can change your life. Also, a play that's going to be put on about the Minnesota State Orphanage. Aren't those fascinating subjects? And we're always looking for more fascinating subjects. So if you have an idea of something you'd like to see right here on the Owatonna Today Show, all you have to do is send us an email at owatonnatoday@charter.net. You can also call us at 390-5751 and let us know what you'd like to see on the show, and we'll see what we can do to get you on the air and talk about what's going on in your life, because this show is all about the Owatonna area. So do stay with us. We'll be right back, and we'll be talking with Amy Swain, so stay with us.
I'm Dan Branstead of Carlson Branstead and Company, Certified Public Accountants. We support the Owatonna Today Show.
Owatonna Public Utilities, real people, real reliable, real progress. Making life a little easier day after day, taking pride in our community, listening to what you say, a voice you can talk to. We're growing with you in mind in everything we do. Owatonna Public Utilities.
Greetings, I'm Laura Ressler, Director of the Steele County Historical Society, and I welcome you to our History Center. We invite you to join in all our activities events where we honor the past and look towards the future.
And we're back with the Owatonna Today Show. We do have with us Amy Swain. Hello.
Hi, Shelley. How are you?
I'm good. How's your spring so far?
Is there spring? I mean, yeah.
This weekend kind of gave me hope that maybe we'll get our 2 weeks of spring and then summer will hit us, because that's Minnesota.
We'll take it.
Yeah, it is. And it's so interesting because I'm hearing birds in the morning, and I'm hearing just the waking up of stuff, and I think some people are missing out on that.
There's a lot of people missing out on the birds.
Yeah. And we want them to experience that. So we like to have you come in because in fact, we were just talking off air a little bit about some fascinating things. And so I'd like to start off, first of all, with the new technology that you kind of introduced with people's iPhones. And they're being used as a remote in a way for people's hearing aids. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay. There's 2 manufacturing companies out on the market today that are offering hearing aids that work directly with your iPhone. So what you can do on the iPhone is you can change the volume of your hearing aids, either one or both sides. You can change the pitch or the tone of those hearing aids. You can also take the hearing aids and, like, say you go to a certain place once a week, like Applebee's once a week. And after you've played with the tone and the volume and all that kind of stuff, you can actually save that as a setting on your iPhone. You can say, okay, Applebee's mode, or
even church,
square dancing, or church.
Because each of those have different sound footprints in a way, and so it might be harder to hear. It's different to hear in church as it is in Applebee's.
Yeah.
And so to be able to have that just automatically saved is kind of amazing.
Yes, right at your fingertips there, all with, everybody carries their phone around. Not that many people have iPhones that are getting hearing aids, but eventually, 5 years from now, it's going to be wonderful. You can even go on there and say you lost your hearing aid, you were out running errands, and you come back and, my hearing aid's gone. There's a Find My Hearing Aid app, and you click that, and it tells you, the general vicinity. Yeah. I mean, it can't pinpoint exactly, but it can say, it was left at 302 Central Street, and you can go there and find your hearing aid, hopefully.
What is the technology that is allowing this to be made possible? What is helping those pair together?
It's Bluetooth technology. Now, the Bluetooth technology has been available in hearing aids for probably about 6-7 years is my guess. But we always had to have a device that was in between that and the cell phone. Okay. And so people that have a hard time hearing on the phone because they can't understand words and such, it's really nice for them to be able to hear the conversation in both ears, because when you have 2 ears working together, you definitely hear better, you understand the words better. And so on your iPhone, now you can just answer it and you hear the person talking in both your ears. No device is in between all that,
Yeah.
because that in-between device that they've been using for years is, kind of awkward. You got your cell phone, you got your hearing aids, and you got this other remote control. Well,
Yeah.
now you don't really need that anymore. And so that's really nice. You can also stream like Pandora or any other kinds of music or anything from your iPad, iPod, iPhone. So if you're going to be getting a new phone and you have hearing aids, get an iPhone, because it's all the apps that are available on there. It's just going to be amazing.
Well, and it can be daunting to get a new phone and have those apps. Will you be able to help somebody set those apps up and kind of walk them through the process of learning how to use that phone?
Yeah. Oh, certainly. What I do is sit down and pair the hearing aids up for them and show them how that is accessed. And definitely, they even have a feature on the iPhone too, where with the hearing aids, once it's paired with the iPhone, you can turn on what they call Live Smart, Live Talk, something like that. It's an app, and you can put your cell phone across the table. If you go on a date or something like that, put your cell phone across the table, and it allows you to have like an external microphone that leads directly to your hearing aids. So that's really nice too.
How has this technology kind of changed what you've seen in hearing aid? Because you've been doing this for a little while. And so how's this new Bluetooth and this phone technology really changed people's experience and life, enjoying life?
Well, what it's really primarily done is the younger people that are having hearing problems are more attracted to getting a hearing aid, or more inclined to get a hearing aid, because they know they got all the extra little functions that can go with it. I mean, let's face it, we're turning into a world that likes gadgets.
It's true, yeah. We always kind of have. Just getting more smaller and electronical.
Well, when I think back, though, I mean, I've only been texting for 5 years or something. I mean, when did that start? It's fairly new yet. So
as people look at this new technology, it's kind of nice, because I know that there's advertising, there's different things that are out there, but to have one person come, then they could go to you and they can ask their questions, and you can find them, because if they don't like technology, they don't have to get these hearing aids.
No.
There are plenty of options, and to be able to come to you and find the right hearing aids for their lifestyle, I think is a really important thing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if you go someplace that offers more than one brand. If you're going to just a one brand storefront, then you're kind of stuck with whatever they're going to offer you. So it's important when you go to shop for a hearing aid that what you do is you go someplace where they offer more than one brand.
And it's so interesting, because I think sometimes people don't think about that shopping for a hearing aid. But it's kind of important to do that, to see what your options are, because if you are a gadget person and you go to the one brand place, they may not have this amazing technology, and they may be really missing out on some things that can really make their life better.
Exactly. Yeah. And when you're shopping for a hearing aid, it's not all about price. You want to, what a lot of people don't understand is hearing aids need a lot of service. People think they're going to put their hearing aid on and walk out the door, but they're not considering things like humidity, perspiration, earwax. Those all have to be taken care of on a routine basis, and so you got to go someplace where you're going to be able to get that service. Somebody that's been around for a long time, somebody that's knowledgeable and all that, not just a kind of a fly-by-night type of thing, just so you can save some money.
Yeah, and I think you need to think of it the same way you do with eyeglasses.
Yeah.
You want a good prescription that you can see, whether it's a bifocal or progressive or whatever it is. The same thing with your hearing aid, and you need to go back once a year to get your eyes checked, because that's an important thing. Now, we talked. You mentioned something about how sometimes it's hard to recognize words, and we were talking a little bit about this earlier. That if the sooner you get your hearing checked, if you've noticed any kind of problems, it actually makes word recognition a little bit easier. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, some people have been kind of scared into buying a hearing aid because they've been told, if you don't buy a hearing aid right now, your hearing is going to continue to just get worse and worse. You've got to take care of it now. That's not the case. It's easiest to get used to a hearing aid when your hearing loss is not as great. If you have a very poor, your levels of hearing, you have to have things very, very loud to hear them, then it's very hard to get used to a hearing aid. But also what can happen if you wait that long is your ability to understand words will go down. So wearing a hearing aid or not wearing a hearing aid is not going to change the levels of your hearing, but it can change your ability to understand words. And so, then you go and get the hearing aids and things aren't coming in clearly. People will tell me, I hear, but I don't understand. Well, yeah, your word understanding score is not good. And how we test that is just put them in the booth with the little headphones. And we say the word dog, say the word king, say the word, whatever. And we find out that they can't repeat those words back. And it's because the brain's forgotten to understand those letters or hear those letters because it can't hear the letters, for one thing. And it's been deprived of the auditory signal.
And so what they've done is they've kind of just walked through life just not understanding complete words, but not, and because it's been a gradual thing, they may not even know this is happening.
Exactly. And so it's important to get your hearing tested at the first sign of, my kids are telling me I have to say what all the time. I'm always having people repeat. I miss things, the jokes at church, or, somebody drops their voice quietly, I miss it. Go get your hearing tested and see if you can prevent that kind of issue. It's not going to, like I say, it's not going to preserve your hearing, but it's going to allow you to understand the words and have clearer hearing later on.
And again, it's a quality of life thing that we've talked a lot about, especially with the hearing. And it's also a safety issue. I was thinking about with glasses, we get glasses because we can't see, and we're afraid of that. But if you can't hear something, it can be just as dangerous as not being able to see something.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Yeah.
There was one man that said he came in to get the hearing aids, and he says, I got to have these. I was watching my grandson for the weekend, and he snuck out the back door, and I didn't hear him.
Yeah, it's a really big deal. So so we talked about some of the signs that if maybe you've had early hearing loss, but are there more such situations where one of those, like, I always think that it's sometimes harder to hear in a crowded restaurant than maybe necessarily in a church. Is that true, or?
It is more hard, it is more difficult, more difficult. It is more difficult to hear in a noisy restaurant. Even if you've got normal hearing, it's harder in that situation. But when you have a hearing loss, a lot of times that starts in the high frequencies. And so all that low frequency noise, it's making it harder to hear the high frequencies where your consonants are. The consonants distinguish speech. You got say, take, flake, cake, bake. They all have that same ending. It's that beginning letter that you got to hear to know what the word is. And if you don't hear that, then it just sounds like mumble jumble.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're continually having problems in a noisy restaurant, again, get your hearing checked.
Well, and it costs like $1,000 to get your hearing checked, right?
Oh, yes.
It's so expensive.
The hearing tests at my office are free,
Yeah.
so come on down and find out. I mean, and it only takes a minute, especially if you've got normal hearing. It only takes 2 minutes, and then you know.
Yeah,
Then you
and
know.
it just, and then when they say you need a hearing aid, you can say, well, I know, I was just at Amy Swain, and I don't, so just leave me alone.
Exactly.
Some people like to rib you about those kind of things. Well, where can they find you, Amy?
You can find me over in the Bridge Street Mall, next to Torrey's at 685 West Bridge Street, Suite 3. And my phone number is 507-451-3879.
And what hours are you usually there?
I'm open 4.5 days a week in Owatonna, so just Friday afternoons we're closed.
Okay, good. Well, I want to thank you for your time, and thank you for your
you.
work and making everybody's life better. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
When using a fire extinguisher, we suggest using the pass system. Pull the pin at the top of the extinguisher that keeps the handle from being accidentally pressed. Aim the nozzle toward the base of the fire. Squeeze the handle to discharge the extinguisher. If you release the handle, the discharge will stop. Sweep the nozzle back and forth at the base of the fire. After the fire appears to be out, watch it carefully since it may reignite. If you have the slightest doubt about whether or not to fight the fire, get out and close the door behind you. This has been a safety message from the Owatonna Fire Department.
Did you know that it is illegal in the city of Owatonna to host or allow a gathering where minors will be consuming alcoholic beverages on your property or in your residence? Did you know that it is illegal to provide minors with alcohol unless they are your own kids in your own home? Underage drinking leads to increased risk of future chemical dependency, engaging in more serious criminal activity, and becoming a victim of a crime. Please help keep our kids and our community safe by not encouraging, hosting, or allowing underage drinking. This is a message from the Owatonna Police Department and the Safe and Drug-Free Coalition of Steele County.
Hi, I'm Glenn Mager.
And I'm Tim Thomas of the Brick Mager Funeral Home, and we're proud to serve the Medford and Owatonna areas with cremation and traditional funeral services.
And we're proud to be a part of the Owatonna Today Show.
Hi, this is Barry Gillespie, president of ERA Gillespie Real Estate, where our pledge is to save you money, save you time, and simplify your life. And we're proud supporters of the Owatonna Today Show.
Hello, I'm David Einhaus with the Owatonna Foundation. Thank you to all of our donors who have helped make Owatonna a better place to live. Will you join us today with a financial gift? Owatonna Foundation is a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
And we're back with the Owatonna Today Show. We have with us Anne Peterson. Hello.
Hello.
We are in a historic building here on the campus of the
It was the Minnesota State Public School for Dependent and Neglected Children. Quite a mouthful.
Wow.
They referred to it themselves as SPS, State Public School.
Yeah.
I think that was on the water tower, and their sports teams were that, but definitely Minnesota State institution.
It's been here since, what was it? I saw on here 18?
I'm going to make you know.
86. I found it.
Yes, 1886.
Was this built originally for the state school?
This property, this whole West Hills campus, was land that was donated to the state of Minnesota to build a home for the neglected and orphaned children. So it was actually a state law that was passed, and Owatonna won the bidding war to get the location here. So at the first year, there were probably 3 cottages built, and they kind of look like old castles. Those buildings have been knocked down now, but they were, brick edifices, but a little more stylish. And then after about a year, then they built the administration buildings because they realized it was going to grow. And at the end, there were 16 cottages, which is what they called the dorms, I guess, where the children lived. So it progressed in 60 years from the 3 cottages, and then it went up to 16 by the time it closed.
Now, how long have you been working with this state school?
Well, I've been working with them probably about 18 months, kind of on the outside. I was working at the Chamber of Commerce scheduling group tours, and the state school is definitely one of the main attractions for groups that would like to come to Owatonna. It's one of the stops that they like to make. So I began to work more closely with Harvey and Maxine, and there was a gap they needed some help, and I said, I'll do it.
I like what you're doing.
And it just evolved into more of the board realized that they needed somebody on a more permanent basis. Maxine had been doing a lot of work on a volunteer basis, and we need to make a transition. So
tell me, one of the things that I'm curious about is how has the state school impacted the community? Because it's left obviously a large physical footprint, but even the state school and the history, how has it kind of impacted the Owatonna area?
Well, I would think it was employment for people, but there are pictures of when it was built, and if you can imagine from downtown Owatonna now, and there was nothing really west of the river, up on the West Hills, it looked like a castle, fortress all by itself. It had its own power plant, its own everything. It was a self-sufficient institution, so it actually had power before the city of Owatonna. So there was no need to be doing a lot of maybe interaction with, in the early years with the people in the town. The people in town were proud that we had this institution, and it wasn't employment, but they grew their own crops. They had their own livestock and milking cows, and so I think too that Harvey Ronglin, who grew up here, will even still sometimes talk about the downtowners. There was definitely a distinction. When they they didn't go into high school until they didn't interact with the Owatonna high school children until they were in 9th, 10th grade. Yeah, the school went through the 8th grade.
Okay.
And the building that we're in right now was their school. So after that, then there was more interaction between the kids and the town people. But I think they were always a little bit cautious. The state school boys were pretty tough from what I've been told.
It sounds a lot like Pillsbury, quite honestly, and in a whole different way. But this isolated little world.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, it still impacted the community. And I ask that because you're putting together through the Orphanage Legacy Trust a play that's coming up to talk about some of the lives that were here. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay, this process started with a grant, maybe back even in 2001. It's an evolving process. They wanted to have a documentation, oral histories. It's just like the students, or like the World War II veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're diminishing, and so were the state school children. So they taped them. And then they taped a few more about 3 years ago. And one of the people that was involved in transcribing and closed captioning all these tapes was named Cheryl Finnegan. Cheryl lives in Pine Island, and she is a history buff. She has also written some plays. She's done some melodrama for Mantorville and things like that. So as she was transcribing, she fell in love with the students and the voices and their stories. So she wrote a grant with the Southeastern Minnesota Arts Council to put together a reader's theater, which is where the actors will be reading the script. They don't really memorize things, but
they don't move around a stage. It's not a set.
No,
it's more of a visual in your head of what's going on. Yeah,
and so it's kind of neat to see them interacting because the tapes had all been individual stories, and now she's melded them together as they kind of having their own discussions. And like Harvey Rungler likes to say, there are 10,635 children, and there's 10,635 stories. Yeah. And so some had a good experience, some didn't, and it's kind of woven together that way. It's fun to see them talking together. Yeah. They've had a couple rehearsals, and they'll have a couple more this week, getting ready for Saturday's event.
And so I love this concept because this is such a unique facility that we have here, and to be able to tell the stories. You do drive around, you might see the cemetery, you see the different cottages, you see the buildings, but you don't necessarily know about the lives that were here.
Exactly.
Harvey's a great person. He's an advocate for this this place, and yet it's his one story. So It's so great to be able to hear these other stories. Can you give us a little snippet of maybe who we'll be hearing from this week?
Well, there is Peter Razor, who has written a book called While the Locust Slept. He's represented a little bit in the story. There is Eva Jensen. She's Sandy Dinsey and Joel Jensen's mother. She grew up here, and she's also put a book together. So those are two of the characters. I think we've got 12. Some of them are still living. Some of them are going to be coming to the play.
Fantastic.
Yes. I mean, we've got, I think the youngest one is 79.
Wow.
So we're pretty excited.
Yeah.
Some of the authors, I think we've got 4 authors will be there. 3 of them were actually students here, and then Arlene Nelson, whose book Cookies, Crackers and Milk will be also there. Her mother was at the state school, so they'll be autographing books after the play is over.
Yeah, it's just a fascinating story, and I love what you said about how for some people it was positive and some people it was negative. And I think for some people it was both, because for some people it was stability, and yet I've heard Harvey say how they were physically healthy, but not necessarily he was not necessarily emotionally healthy.
He likes to say he was institutionalized. He did not have the creative ability, or he didn't think on his own. Everything was done as a group.
Yeah.
And he went into the military, or one of the other people that's in the play just says, the Navy was easy
compared to school.
Well, it really was. So it depended on which cottage you were in, which matron you had, probably your own personality, if you were resilient, what age you came here, whether you rebelled because you knew life was better, or if you were a really young child and you thought that this is just the way people treat people. Yeah. So I'm real excited to see it all come together.
Well, it's kind of a fundraiser. You're looking to hopefully get people to donate to this. And you were telling me that the reason the donations are coming in is not just to keep you dusting things off.
No. We're not just a museum where people come and look at the archives. One of the biggest revelations to me has been the number of people that I've spoken to have just found out that their relative, the grandparent, had been at the state school. Do you have pictures? How do we find the records? We don't have the records here for the students, but they are up at the Minnesota Historical Society library. And there's a fee for that, but we have somebody who can help do the research too. And this one woman is 91 years old, and she found letters in her file that her mother had written to her that were not given to her.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
So it's a really
weekend.
touchy.
Yes,
It's
this weekend.
Okay.
Let's move on. It's this weekend. It is Saturday, May 17th.
At 3 o'clock.
Okay.
It's free to the public, but a $5 free will donation would be very much appreciated. And that's...
Come learn. Come experience a little bit of
it.
life. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Hi, I'm Amy Martinez.
And I'm Adam Martinez, owners of Snap Fitness in Owatonna.
Snap Fitness is a fast, convenient, and affordable fitness center, and we're proud supporters of the Owatonna Today Show.
Everyone deserves opportunities to have a good life, a quality education that leads to a stable job, enough income to support a family through retirement, and good health. But the reality is, many children fall behind, many families are struggling, and many others are in poor health. United Way's goal is to find long-term solutions. Thanks to a grant from the Otto Bremer Foundation, we're hosting community conversations this year to address these issues. If you'd like to join us, please call our office.
Hello, I'm Sean McNulty. And I'm Deb Gillard with Brookdale Senior Living, Sterling House, and Clarebridge of Owatonna. And we are a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
And we're back with a look at some of the things that are going on in your community. Nominations are now being sought for the 2014 Male and Female Outstanding Senior Citizen Award for Steele County. The award recognizes outstanding senior citizens who have contributed their time and talent to benefit the community after reaching the age 65. Official nomination forms are available on the Fair website at scff.org or at the Fair office. The deadline for nominations is July 1st. The Civic Contributions Committee of the Women's Club of Owatonna is seeking applications to receive funds for their annual charity event, which will be held November 22nd at the Owatonna Eagles Club. All proceeds from the event are given to nonprofit organizations to benefit community projects in Steele County. Applicants who have received this funding in the past 3 years are not eligible to apply. Please submit a written inquiry for the application, and it needs to be received before May 19th to Sandy Boss at 603 East Phelps Street, right here in Owatonna. And it's Eat Wings, Raise Funds. Support the Owatonna Arts Center while enjoying some wings. Eat at B-Dubs anytime on May 14th and let your waiter know you want to donate to the fundraiser. The Owatonna Arts Center will receive 10% of the sales from the day. It's again Wednesday, May 14th at Buffalo Wild Wings. Also, it's Create Beautiful Blooming Flower Art with the whole family coming up Saturday, May 17th from 3 to 4:30 at the Owatonna Arts Center. It's $5 per family if you're a member and $8 for non-members. It's just a great opportunity to create flower art and make your home a little bit more beautiful, even on those rainy days. The Owatonna Community Blood Drive at the St. Joseph's Catholic Church on Elm Street is happening May 14th from noon to 6, Thursday, May 15th from noon to 6, and on Friday, May 16th from 8 to 1. Call for appointment at 800-733-2767, or you can go online at redcrossblood.org. Walk-ins are also welcome for that day. And the Steele County Historical Society is pleased to welcome back physician and author Dr. Patrick Greenwood of Owatonna for a presentation this Thursday at 7 p.m. in the Wenger Room of the History Center. This is one of a series that talks about Owatonna physicians from the greatest generation. Admission to the lecture is free for members and $2 for non-members. We will see you on Wednesday when we're going to be talking to the Owatonna Public Utility, and it's Pet Adoption Day, so we'll maybe have some furry friends. So check in, we'll see you then.